Yeah, I think uh, your mom said that the poor won't receive what they need, regardless of what the need is, and then that
Skills
the
are critical.
education, yeah, social skills critical, and the education system needs an overhaul, and kids need supervision. Yeah, I mean, the poor, the coming up at the poor really hits hard because there are people there that don't have the internet connection, the means necessary. Unfortunately, there are some kids out there that even will never get that because their parents don't care. They'll get the means from the government to actually get what they need, and the
Right.
parents will not give it to them. Who knows what the parents would do with the money they receive? They'll just go and do whatever they want, and the kids now won't have the resources they need.
Well, here's the interesting argument started to debate now that education has basically gone digital. Is the internet a utility? Like, should the internet be a basic utility? And I think that's an important question to answer. Like, depending on how we go with education,
Like water,
especially,
light, electricity.
yeah, is it a utility? I mean, granted, you can get your water turned off at any second, but there's outlets that you can use. Like every store offers free water. You can go into McDonald's or you can go to Chick-fil-A or anywhere, and you could just get free water. There's usually water fountains up in Target or even in gyms. Water is a free commodity. So should we think about internet like that? And I know that we have access to internet in less mainstream ways, like the library. Should we consider having more access points for that? If the ability to socialize it, I guess, is not applicable. And again, we're working out these thoughts like mid conversation, so nothing I say is going to be perfect. I sometimes what I say is stupid, so we're just trying to work on these thoughts as we go along.
Is it a utility? I mean, I think I think internet is very internet before water.
There we go. Quote of the century, dude. 2020. Here we go.
Dude, you can cut off my water, but do not cut off my internet. I can take a shower
Right.
at the gas
Yeah,
station,
I know, right?
but I can't do my schoolwork at the gas station. So
Do not cut off my internet.
oh man, no, I think internet is definitely important now. Like looking back at when I was in school, I mean, I'm old, not really, but I'm 29. When I was in school, when I went out through school with basic internet, if not no internet. The time we had internet in my house was soft junior and senior year. It's when we finally got internet in my house.
Right.
So any work I had to do, anything was through like the library or through the Ethernet cable the school provided for me
Right.
with AOL. You could connect it and get 20 hours for free a month.
Right.
That was the only way. So now I'm thinking, I'm like, all these kids don't have school books. They don't use those things. It's all internet. So when you're expecting a child to go through 12 years of school digitally or half digitally, half in school, whatever they decide, you got to provide those resources. And I feel like if you're taking money from taxes, then that money should go into providing internet for the kids in school.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, I think I'm in agreement that we need to have if this is the modality that we're taking and internet is becoming so important, like the ability to have access to internet, you can't do anything nowadays. Like you literally have to have like some sort of profile somewhere, an email set up, just to receive notifications or to apply to schools. Like
Hmm.
you have to have internet. And now schools are making it to where they're doing most of their education, like all their grading is through what was that one software, web oh man, I hated it. I had to use it for physics. Oh my gosh, it was, I forget what it's called, but it was like this online platform, and even when you typed in the right answer, it was still wrong. It was so mad. Hated it. But someone knows what the site was called. I think it's called web something. I don't know, but let me know in chat. Hey, but schools are utilizing these these softwares and browsers and everything like that. I think it's important that we understand what resources communities have and what resources are limited in those communities, to basically say, all right, we need to, if this is the route we're going, we need to set it up so everybody has access for it. Whether it's, I don't know if that solution is to say, we're just going to make internet free. I don't think that that's the right solution. But maybe the solution is opening up libraries, more community access, better public accesses to these facilities. I think
the U.S. is behind in a lot of the U.S. is behind in the technology side.
Yeah.
By a whole bunch, especially internet speeds. Like, we are one of the slowest in the world.
Yeah.
There's countries with faster internet speeds than we have in like one state.
It's crazy.
Part of it is just the economic competition that there is here. Just everybody wants a piece of the pie. No one wants to give up or any sort of their pie for bettering of the communities.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. So Del made a point, which I know he makes as a satirical joke, but it's important. Like he said, back in my day, paper report card. I got a paper report card. Parents had to sign it, and we took it back.
Yeah.
So I think we're too far ahead in the technology realm to say we're gonna go back. Let's screw technology. I just don't think going back to paper is even a reasonable outlook anymore. I think that we're so integrated into technology now. I think we really have to start to consider seriously how we're going to provide educational opportunities for kids.
Well, Mr. Know-It-All had a point too. He said, where was it? I saw it here. Public school was created to make sure all children receive equal education. Internet would need to be a utility in order for that to continue. And that makes
with virtual learning
sense. Yeah, with virtual learning. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. If you expect the curriculum to be fulfilled for free, then those kids would need to have the materials needed. It is in college.
Yeah, it's like, hey, here's a free education. By the way, you need a $1,000 laptop or a couple hundred dollar laptop, internet access, which is like $30 a month. Screw that. Like, it's like, all right, well, terms and conditions apply with free education.
You want to have a kid? Just know that the next 12 years, every 2 years, you're gonna have to buy a new laptop. You have to pay for internet. And I'm not saying that parents shouldn't pay for internet, but some parents don't have those means. Some kids don't have the means to pay for that.
Yeah, I don't think we're thinking about this sensibly enough to actually have at least the world or social media or anybody that's actually debating these issues. I don't think that we're actually thinking about these issues seriously and sensibly enough to actually understand that not everybody has access to this education that we're talking about. And depending on where your school is located, whether it's a Title I or if you're located in a really good funded area, like that all contributes to how you receive this information and whether or not you're going to end up even having the resources. It's consider a Title I school, that be funded by property taxes. But I mean, what's a library? funded by taxes. Like so even if we opened up a library in that area to provide more access, I mean, is it going to be properly funded? Like, we got to think about these things. And I just don't know if we're having those conversations.
Well, I mean, if you open the library, then what's going to happen is you're going to have to socially distance, because there's a reason why you can't go to school because of all this happening. So it's not that you can open a library and have 50 people go into the library at a time. That actually is not gonna happen either. So it's it's all these if then this, if this then that, and then
and then you got to think about transportation to the library. I mean, we're providing transportation to school. Are we going to do it to the library? Like, are you going to have access to this computer lab? Like, is this or how are you going to get there? That's a real question. Like, what if I don't have transportation? Like, my only mode of transportation is riding the bus. Like, I just don't know.
It's not like other countries where they have public transportation almost in every corner, or like some states like New York where there is public transportation. You can't really you can't really complain about New York. It's okay. Well, you know, you can get on a bus or get on a train.
Right.
But at the same time, over here, it's like, for example, in Georgia, I don't know how the kids would go to school. Schools are so far. Sometimes walking to school is not an option. Walking to a library is usually not an option either. And then with everything going around, all the crime and everything, do you think parents would let their kids by themselves at home, or go to the
Yeah, I mean,
library and stay there? It's like,
again, these are all things that we have to consider. Like, I think that creating access points to these areas, like to education, maybe not the traditional way of school, like thinking like that. I think we need to open up. I love what Gwinnett County Library is doing. I think every other county should follow their initiative. They're on the Save the Library, because obviously books are going digital. Nobody's renting books anymore from the library. If you actually walk into a Gwinnett County Library, there's nothing on the shelves, barely anything. But what they have done is they have transitioned everything digitally. So they have computers, and these are high quality computers set up in the facility. There's a ton of them that you could actually do social distancing. There's a ton of them. And there's even this thing called a learning lab, where you could, it's a green screen. It's how we film the podcast. Everything is free. There's a 3D printer. There's technicians there to help you learn about all of it. I think if we could take that and model that in sort of into an educational realm, with using school, I think that would be very, very utilizable. If no one has ever been to the Gwinnett County Library, I highly recommend you guys to check it out.
Because I mean, which one? Because I grew up around the Gwinnett County Library in Snellville by Shiloh.
Oh, really?
It was my favorite library. I mean, I would go there every time, rent as many comic books and James Patterson books. I mean, I was an avid reader. I love me the comic books
James
and the crime.
Patterson, yeah.
Bro, the crime and investigating books and the comic books were my thing. It breaks my heart to see that people aren't reading books as often,
right,
myself included. But that's a great idea. Like, what if schools could transition to something like that? Like, if you're not going to provide kids access to the internet at home, then provide it for the school. That way the kids can socially distance and provide a digital learning at school. You don't lose out. You can minimize the amount of kids there and put up little buffers. If you're thinking about social distancing, have them in computer labs where you have like you're learning online at school. That way you can use the resources at school and mimic what the library is doing. I don't know. I'm just spouting it out based on what you said.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't know that's what they were doing.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like, so they have classes set up. So if you want to learn how to program, like, they have a class set up for that, and they have people that come in and help teach the class. If you want to learn how to do video editing, they have a class for that. If they want to help, I think they have Spanish classes too. If you want to come and learn and be like a beginner Spanish learner, you can come in. They have the class blocked out, and they give you like a calendar, and you just show up. You just either sign up on the website or show up. I mean, I love what they're doing. And I think that if we could transition education into that sort of realm where we have, classes that are blocked off, and teachers sign up for these classes and they teach this way over this amount of time, and people could sign up and come for it, I think that would be interesting. I mean, again, this is all speculatory. It's all theoretical. Don't shoot me in the head or get mad at me for, spouting out some possibilities here. Okay. I get there's a lot of things that we haven't worked out, but I think we should, really consider some ways that we can reorganize it.
Some rural areas do not have internet services. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole point. That's the whole point of like the library initiative. Create more, like you said, access points for the kids and the schools. Thank you for talking. I think she meant on this serious conversation that others in elected positions bypass. Bravo for opening this up. This is how you accomplish things and help others. Chandler said, "Suck." Yeah, any Gwinnett County Library is awesome. He said the Lilburn Library. By the way, most public water fountains have been shut off due to COVID. Let's transition the state-funded schools instead of property taxes. You can get internet for $10 a month if you're on Snap. Does anyone think that poor children living with parents that are worried about covering housing, food, and electricity will be concerned about internet? Look at the stats at eviction. College was way different. Yeah. Again, important conversations. I really appreciate you coming on, Gabe.
Yeah.
Really interesting talk. I was more or less gonna talk about Overwatch with you in video editing, but that that was fun. I actually
It's
enjoyed.
good.
I enjoyed that a lot. So
It's an interest. It was an interesting conversation. I mean, you have to talk about these things. Unfortunately, not unfortunately. Sorry, but like, well, unfortunately, yes. Sometimes these topics need to be
right,
spoken about more than others because sometimes people just don't see
the
the various
priority.
angles.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
priority of it.
yeah. It's unfortunate.
Hey man, I 100% appreciate having you on. You're an awesome guest. Guys, if you have not checked out his Instagram page and followed his work, he is fantastic. He dropped that handle in the
Oh, yeah.
YouTube chat. If you want to drop that again just to make
Oh,
sure.
yeah, sure.
Um guys, this has been Zitro, Mr. Gabriel Ortez. So, check him out on Instagram. Fantastic. And Gabe, I'll keep you on here for just a second. Let me raid somebody on Twitch and then we'll go from there. Sound good?
Yeah. All right. Nice being here, guys, and appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Hold on, let me do this. And I hope I spelled that right. I always mess this up. All right. Rating. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right now. Bye, guys. And